Hey everyone, this is Chris with Ignited by Nature, and today I'm talking about the Vortex Crossfire HD. Now, I did do a comprehensive comparison, and this scope was included, but I'm doing a more in-depth review, kind of showing you some more examples of this scope. Honestly, I think this is an excellent addition to the Vortex series and a great addition to anyone who is looking to get into a spotting scope and not spend a ton of money. It retails at $199, and I think for the price point, it's going to be a great option for those new hunters or new birders or whatever you're into, right? This is going to be a great option for you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this review. First off, let's talk about the specs like I always do, right? So starting off, you have a 12 to 36 magnification range and you have a 50 millimeter objective. This spotting scope also has a exit pupil of 4.2 to 1.4 millimeters depending on the zoom range, and a field of view of 173 feet to 89 feet at 1,000 yards depending on the zoom range. And you have an overall weight of 30.3 ounces or 31.2 ounces if you have the straight angled spotting scope. So there is some difference between the straight and the angled as far as weight. You also notice a difference in the close focusing distance between the two. So on this angled here, you have 13.9 feet for the close focusing distance, and on the straight spotting scope, you have 14.5 feet. Another difference would be the overall length. So usually the more compact scope is the angled, just because of the angled nature of it, right? But with Vortex, the straight spotting scope is actually more compact. The straight spotting scope with this one is actually 9.7 inches. I don't actually own this one, so I couldn't actually measure it out, but they have it listed as 9.7 inches, and this one is 10.2 inches. So it's one of the most compact spotting scopes in the Vortex lineup, and it's at a great price point. Like I said, it runs at about $199.99, and then I actually got it for $150 on GuideFitter, brand new. So if you really want a spotting scope, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is a great option for you. The overall build quality, I was actually pretty impressed with for how cheap it is. The focus wheel is actually very smooth, right? I really like the focus wheel. And if I pop off this eye cup here, the magnification wheel is actually really smooth. So I'm honestly very impressed with the overall build quality of this spotting scope. And then if I pop this off here, you can see that you have ARCA built in, which is also a nice feature that Vortex has added to all their compact spotting scopes. And I've only really tried out their compact spotting scopes. I haven't tried out one of their larger spotting scopes yet, so I don't know if they include that, but I assume they do on all their newer models. Now, another thing that I really liked is that this objective lens cap right here is actually pretty solid. Like, it sticks on there. Like, you don't have any problems with that falling off. So if you're worried about getting your optic scratched, this actually stays on when it's in your pack, which is very nice. And I think that is honestly really cool because, you know, even though Vortex has a great warranty, you don't have to worry about sending it in, right? And that would be my only complaint with Vortex is like everything that I've ever owned, I've had to send in at one point. But the build quality on this actually seems nice. And like the Vortex Viper that I bought, it actually had a little signature saying that this was inspected and actually tested by someone, and it had their signature, which seems legit. I don't know, why would you lie about that? If they did do that, that's awesome. So I'll take that for face value, and I guess, you know, over time we'll see. But honestly, this is a decent spotting scope for the price, and it's nice and compact. This will actually fit in the lid of any of the backpacks that I'm testing out right now. So it will fit in the top lid of the Stone Glacier. It will fit in the K4 by XO Mountain Gear and the Initial Ascent IA 3K. So it's definitely compact, and I like that it fits in the backpack nicely. If you're wondering about this tripod, I'm testing this out with a number of different tripods. This is one of the standing tripods that I bought, and it's made by Leophoto. It's the LS365CX. I just bought it on Amazon. I wanted a nice, tall carbon fiber standing tripod that wouldn't break the bank. And then I just added the ASIAC Equipment backcountry light ball head. And this has been a great setup for me so far for a standing tripod. Now, as far as the overall glass quality, I would say that for the price point, it's pretty good. You know, it's nothing special, but you're only paying $200. In my case, I paid $150. And the overall edge clarity, it's not edge to edge as far as clarity, but it's still pretty good. I do notice that this scope is a little warmer than other scopes, and different lighting situations do affect it more, but you do get a 12 to 36 magnification range. And on that higher end, it does get a little degraded, but overall for the price point, I think it's great glass quality. Now they say that they have HD lenses in them. All of Vortex's scopes actually say that they have HD lenses. Honestly, it's like the Wild West out there. All their marketing stuff, every company is different. So I don't really worry too much about what lenses they have on there. I like to test the glass out myself. I think the coatings probably matter more. In this case, it's, you know, totally weatherproof, but they don't use IPX7. At least from my knowledge, they don't advertise it. So I'm assuming they don't use IPX7. Someone can correct me on that if they want. So we've gone over the specs. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this spotting scope and see how it actually performs out in the field. I got some B-roll for you, some footage from my all-in setup, and I'd love to show you how this performs. Keep in mind that when recording this video, I'm using an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that the image quality is always a little bit better in person. But also, with that being said, the camera quality of your phone and the quality of the optic also affects the overall image. Also keep in mind that I have the auto frames per second turned off and the white balance locked, and all the other settings are set in place so that you can get the best idea of how this optic actually looks. In this first clip from August 11th, you can see the antelope. This is at 36 power and we're at 460 yards away. This next image, you can see the zoom range of this optic from 36 power all the way down to 12 power. In this next image, I just wanted to give you an idea and a comparison between the Maven S.2, the Vortex Razor 13 to 39, and the Vortex Crossfire HD. You can see that the image quality at this point, roughly 10 minutes after sunset, is still pretty good. On this next image, I just wanted to show you the difference in low light performance. This is roughly 34 minutes after sunset, and you can see the degradation of the Crossfire versus the Maven S.2 and the Razor 13 to 39. In this next clip on August 11th, this is at 7:33 p.m., roughly an hour and 20 minutes before sunset, and you can see that the image isn't quite as sharp. This is also at 5x zoom, but overall, I found that in most optics, the image quality on the higher end optics like Koa and Swaro stays pretty good up to 5x. This is a video of some coyotes. Actually, these coyotes actually chased the antelope off that I was filming, but you can see at 36 power, you can still make out the coyotes pretty well. You can also see that there isn't total edge-to-edge clarity, but for the price of this optic, it's not that bad. This video was taken earlier before I started filming the other antelope, and this is at 609 yards. You can see that there's a little bit of distortion in the image. You can see that power line is actually a little bit bent, and you can also see that this actually focuses pretty well, and the focusing mechanism is pretty smooth on this optic. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the actual scope quality, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons. Now, as far as pros go for this scope, I would say that the magnification and focus fields are very smooth. Another thing I didn't mention that I thought was a pro was the twist up eye cup here is really nice. It's making some noise. Maybe I have some grit in it. I mean, I've been testing them out a lot, so there might be some sand, but overall, I was really impressed with the eye cup quality for the price point. And just toss that all-in adapter back on. And then the Arca plate is another pro. I like that. Vortex added it to all their scopes, and the rubber armor. I love the rubber armor on this thing. And then another pro would be the overall price point, right? It's only $200, so it's very affordable and it's pretty compact. I would say that overall, this is a very nice scope if you're new to hunting or any of the other outdoor hobbies that require a spotting scope. If you just want to get your feet wet and get into something, this would be good for you, right? It's at an excellent price point, and I think overall the glass quality for the price point is pretty good, and the overall build quality seems very nice, which I think Vortex has stepped up their game in the last couple things that they came out with, like the Viper and this one, for instance. I just think overall they are pretty nice for the price points. As far as cons go, I would say the major con for any of the Vortex scopes, especially the lower end ones, is that they're made and assembled in China, right? So we're just supporting China there. I don't know if I like doing that, but I don't have any problem with the Chinese people, but I just know they're a communist government. Their government is, and they don't really like us. So I think that we shouldn't be supporting them, but everything is made in China now. So I guess who cares? Another con for this optic would be the overall weight. It's definitely heavier than a lot of the other optics in its class. So it's 30.3 ounces for this angled, and then for the straight, like I said earlier, it's 31.2. So the weight is another con. One other con that I would like to mention would be the close focusing distance is 13.9 or 14.5 feet, depending on which model you go with. So it definitely is not a scope that you want if you're a birder and you care about getting really close to things, but it does have a 12 to 36 zoom range, so that is cool. And then one last con would be that it doesn't have IPX7 waterproofing. It is waterproof and fog proof and nitrogen sealed, but that just worries me if it doesn't have IPX7, because that's like kind of the top of the line that you would expect. And it seems like none of their compact spotting scopes have that, or they just don't have it listed, or I just didn't see it when I was going through their spreadsheet and their specs. Alrighty then. So I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about with the scope. I think this is an excellent scope for the price point. I think it's a great entry-level scope. If you can't afford a lot and you just want to get a spotting scope to pair with your binoculars, go and buy the scope. It's 12 to 36 magnification. It's got a 50 millimeter objective. It's got a decent zoom range overall, and the exit pupil is not bad. It's 4.2 to 1.4 millimeters, meaning you get pretty bright images, but you do notice a degradation with this scope when you do get into those low light situations. But overall, for the price point, I think it's a great buy. I would just say it's a little bit heavier than some of the other scopes, but it also is more compact than other scopes. With all that being said, I think that is a wrap on this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did find this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. Always remember to stay connected to the wild. Nature is good for you, so get out there. And then once again, if you have any feedback, you have any suggestions, or you just want to leave a comment and tell me how you've liked this scope so far, definitely leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback and comments. I always try to answer everything. The only ones I haven't been answering really are on Instagram and TikTok, because I'm just not as active. But if you message me on YouTube, I will get back to you. And then once again, my name is Chris with Ignited by Nature, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, guys and gals.